After Maine Mendoza's birthday, are Alden Richards and Maine finally ready to admit the truth? Birthdays are often more than just celebrations. They are moments of reflection, moments when people reassess where they are in life, what they want, and who truly matters. When Maine Mendoza recently celebrated another milestone, fans couldn't help but look beyond the candles and flowers. They looked for clues, for meaning, for signs. And almost immediately, conversations began circulating online. After her birthday, is it finally time for them to admit what's real? The them, of course, refers to Maine and Alden Richards, a pairing that once defined a generation of viewers. But is there really something to admit? Or is this simply nostalgia speaking? Let's explore the emotions behind the headlines. Why birthdays spark speculation? There's something symbolic about birthdays. They represent growth, transition, a new chapter. Fans often believe milestone moments open doors for honesty, especially when it comes to relationships. So when Maine marked another year of life, supporters naturally wondered, is this the moment for clarity? Is this the time for truth? Is this when hidden feelings, if any, finally surface? In celebrity culture, silence is often interpreted as mystery, and mystery fuels hope. The legacy of their chemistry. It's impossible to talk about Alden and Maine without acknowledging what they once created together. Their partnership was organic, unexpected, lightning in a bottle. Millions witnessed their spontaneous beginnings, their playful exchanges, and the undeniable chemistry that captured hearts nationwide. That chapter wasn't manufactured hype. It felt genuine, and when something feels genuine, people hold on to it, even years later. So when Maine celebrated her birthday, fans weren't just celebrating her. They were revisiting memories, replaying moments, reigniting possibilities. Social media, the amplifier of hope. In today's digital age, even the smallest gesture can spark massive interpretation. A greeting, a message, a like, a subtle comment. If Alden posts something heartfelt, it trends. If he keeps things simple, it trends. If there is silence, that trends too. Supporters dissect timing, tone, and body language, searching for signs that something deeper exists. But sometimes, what fans interpret as hidden confirmation may simply be mature privacy, and maturity can look quieter than expectation. The pressure of public confession. The idea that they should admit something assumes there is something to confess. But real life is rarely that dramatic. People grow, they change, they pursue different paths, and not every meaningful connection needs a public declaration. If there were ever feelings between them, those feelings existed in their time. And if there weren't, the chemistry was still real in its context. Either way, forcing an admission can sometimes overshadow something beautiful: mutual respect. Alden's current focus. In recent years, Alden has appeared more grounded and intentional. He speaks about family, business ventures, and long-term stability. He carries himself with quiet discipline. If there is something personal in his life, he protects it carefully. That protection doesn't automatically mean secrecy. It could simply mean growth. Maine's steady confidence exudes calm assurance. She seems comfortable in her journey, professionally and personally. Her birthday celebration reflected gratitude, maturity, and clarity. There was no dramatic reveal, no shocking confession, just peace. And sometimes peace speaks louder than speculation. Why fans still want the truth? The desire for confirmation isn't about gossip. It's about emotional investment. Fans were part of something special. They laughed, they cried, they defended, they believed. So naturally, they crave closure or continuation. But perhaps the deeper truth is this: not every story needs a public ending. Some chapters remain meaningful without explanation. What if the real admission is growth? What if the confession fans are waiting for isn't romantic? What if the real admission is this: they both grew. They both valued what they shared. They both moved forward with respect. Growth doesn't cancel sincerity. It honors it. Maybe after Maine's birthday, what we're seeing isn't the beginning of a confession. Maybe it's the continuation of two individuals choosing privacy over pressure. The beauty of letting stories evolve. It's easy to want fairy tales, clear answers, grand announcements. But real life, even for celebrities, unfolds differently. Alden and Maine created a chapter that will forever be iconic. But today, they stand as individuals first. And perhaps the most mature way to honor their journey is to allow it to evolve naturally, without forcing declarations, without demanding admissions, without turning nostalgia into expectation. Final reflection. After Maine Mendoza's birthday, fans may still wonder, is this the moment they finally admit everything? But maybe the truth is simpler. Maybe what existed was real in its time. Maybe what exists now is growth. And maybe the most powerful admission isn't about romance at all. It's about maturity. Because sometimes the strongest stories aren't the ones loudly confirmed. They're the ones quietly respected. And perhaps that quiet respect is the real sign of how far they've both come. When silence becomes the loudest statement, after Maine Mendoza celebrated her birthday, many expected something dramatic, a surprise appearance, a bold confession, a headline that would shake social media. But what happened instead? Calm, grace, normalcy. And sometimes silence is louder than any announcement. Because silence can mean confidence, it can mean boundaries, it can mean what matters doesn't need public validation. For Alden Richards, who has always carried himself with composure, this approach feels consistent. He has never been one to rush declarations just to satisfy curiosity. And Maine has shown the same maturity. The myth of the perfect timing. Fans often believe that milestone events, birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, are perfect timing for major revelations. But real life doesn't always follow cinematic timing. If something meaningful exists, it doesn't need a symbolic date to validate it. And if nothing needs to be revealed, then forcing an announcement can create unnecessary pressure. Perhaps what fans interpret as the perfect moment to admit is simply a projection of longing. Longing for clarity, longing for confirmation, longing for a fairy tale ending. But maturity teaches something powerful. Not every story needs a public climax. The evolution of their connection. What Alden and Maine shared during their peak was undeniable. It was natural. It was electric. It felt real. But people are not frozen in time. They evolve, they learn, they outgrow certain expectations. The beauty of their journey is not whether they confess something today. The beauty is that they handled fame without bitterness, without scandal, without disrespect. That alone says a lot. Fans divided. But united in care after Maine's birthday, online discussions reflected two strong perspectives. One, those who believe there is still something unspoken. Two, those who believe both have already moved on peacefully. But both groups share one thing. They care. They want happiness. They want clarity. They want peace for both individuals. And that emotional investment is proof of how impactful their story once was. Growth over gossip. The entertainment industry thrives on dramatic reveals, but Alden and Maine seem to prioritize something different: stability, personal growth, private joy. There's a certain confidence that comes with not needing to explain yourself to the world. And perhaps that's what fans are witnessing now. Not secrecy, but maturity. What if the real confession already happened? Here's a thought. What if the real admission isn't about romance? What if it's this? They respect each other. They cherish what they had. They are grateful for the chapter. And they are at peace with where they are now. That kind of quiet understanding doesn't trend. But it lasts. The power of letting go or holding on quietly. Some supporters still hope for a dramatic reveal. Others have embraced the idea that some stories are beautiful because they remain partly untold. Both perspectives are valid, because sometimes the magic of a story lies in its mystery. And sometimes closure isn't about confirmation. It's about acceptance. Final reflection. After Maine Mendoza's birthday, fans asked, should they finally admit it? But maybe the better question is, what truly needs admitting? If there was sincerity before, it doesn't disappear with time. If there is peace now, it doesn't need validation. Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza created something unforgettable once. And perhaps the most respectful way to honor that chapter is to allow both of them to live fully in their present, without pressure to relive the past. Because sometimes the strongest statement isn't a confession, it's growth. And growth, when handled with grace, is its own kind of truth.